to stay connected with the spirit of the land, with the spirit of nature, in a time where the world seems to be in a moment of hibernation. We just came out of the holidays, December, a time to spend together with family, celebration, food, and all the enjoyment that comes with these times of holidays. It's like we can experience a height or a peak. For others it's complete opposite. But once we come out of these holidays, perhaps before the new year, we maybe some of us made a New Year's resolution of how we actually want to change our life and all of that, and the things we want to do and the lifestyles we want to build. But at the moment we get back into our normal mundane routines of work, responsibilities. Before we know it, we lose touch with that what we actually envisioned for ourselves. So really what I wanted to share with you are two types of self-reflection methods that we can practice even during this time, that brings in more satisfaction, fulfillment, direction and purpose in our life. Even in these times when we look outside our window and say to ourselves, it's better to stay indoors, where I'm protected from the elements, from the cold, the rain, the weather that seems miserable, nature who is in a complete hibernation mode, that looks a little bit bone dry. But yet when we decide to stay responsibility for our own nourishment and cleansing, we can reconnect with that we often feel a little bit disconnected from. But at the same time we desire to stay connected with this element. Nowadays, often when I go out in nature, I don't really have a topic in mind. I used to always look for ways of what it is that people are looking for. What is the demand, so I can offer and supply. I can offer a question to an answer. But now my intention is to become a vessel, to become a facilitator for that of what has to be given to the world, of that what has to be whispered in my ears, in my sight, in my hearing and in my voice. So when we go out in a month of January, we go out and get exposed to the elements. We see the rain, the cloudiness, the winds, the storms, and we prefer to stay disconnected from that. We prefer to stay indoors, warm, where we are protected from the elements. And then we often seem to indulge ourselves in entertainment, for example, binge watching movies, series, video games, foods, you name it. And then once again, when we go out in nature, we need some time to adjust to the sensitivity of the elements of nature. Because how more you get out in nature, how more you align with your own nature, you'll realize you are increasing your sensitivity. And when you numb yourself down of your own sensitivity, it's difficult to stay connected with the nature. So when you increase your sensitivity to nature, then that is really the way forward to stay connected, to open up to, first of all, number one is the vision, is to see clearly beyond the five senses of perception of what it is that you want to grow into, to see clearly your path ahead, because that comes with increasing your sensitivity, is to raise above the mundane of daily reality. Vision is where you're heading, but insight is to be inspired, is to become in spirit in the here and now, is to feel what has to be felt, is to hear what has to be heard. The insight is to listen, is to pay attention. The wind is a voice. The water is a purification, is a cleanse. The earth offers protection, offers support. And all of that makes a contribution of belonging, of feeling alive, of feeling supported, of feeling connected. And to stay in touch with your vision, it is sometimes merely a practice of standing on top of a hill or top of a mountain and gaze into the distance. Simply gaze perhaps into the movement of the clouds or the lights, the sunlight shining over the landscapes, giving color and saturation and vibrancy to the lands. Gazing over a landscape, it gives you perspective. It will help you to first of all take a step back so you can step up, obviously. Self-awareness and consciousness is to move out of the daily mundane aspects of reality. This visualization methods of self-reflection, it gives you perspective on where you are at and where you are going, and what it is that brings you the closest to your own nature, to your own true authentic self, which is of course has to be in line with your sensitivity to nature. And that goes all hand in hand with what it is that January stands for. January stands for a time of cleansing, of purification of the old. We promised ourselves not to live the same patterns of last year, but moving further ahead of what's coming ahead this year and the years ahead. Which is of course the development of enhancing your vision. But vision alone is nothing than a dream. So therefore insights has to be balanced and work together in a harmonious way. Is to unite these two self-reflection methods. Insights is the energy from source that can ignite your spirit, your soul, to move further, to move ahead, to take action on that vision. The insight has to be felt in the gut, in the solar plexus, in the intuition. Into the sacral and into the root and into the earth. That's why we must feel the earth, walk on this earth, unite with this earth, breathe in with the earth. And it does not help if we continue to isolate ourselves from these elements. So get in touch with the elements, feel the elements, unite with the elements. Welcome the winds that will empty your head, and the rain, the water that will cleanse and purify the mind and the body. And I have it many times during these months where I also have my challenges of dealing with my challenges of life, of my duality of reality, and finding my way through that, of balancing both the spiritual and the material. When I go too much into the material, I feel frustrated of losing touch with the spiritual. But when I go in a mode of stepping away from the material, I can feel the restlessness of not engaging and looking after the material. And therefore, because of these frustrations of dealing with the mundane, I can, just like anyone else, distract myself in indulging myself in binge watching series, video games, eating food, not always the most nourishing foods. And then we come out here in nature and we feel that we have disconnected ourselves from that. Sometimes we need a little bit more time to feel the heaviness of these months, of the months that are meant to go inwards, to stay connected with enhancing our vision of the upcoming months ahead. If we do the work of the insight today, tomorrow we can enjoy the fruits of that labor, of the labor of adjusting and bringing everything in alignment. And that what comes to the surface is the fruits of that alignment. So the two practices of self-reflection to bring into balance and harmony are vision and insight, which can be supported by the spirit of the land, of nature, which can help us to increase our sensitivity of where we belong. Anyway, what are your thoughts? What are your insights? Is there anything you would like to share? Please let me know. Simply drop a comment below. Feel free to share, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you're not going to miss out on this whole practice of self-reflection and aligning with our true authentic self and the spirits of nature in the land. Jean-Paul here. Take care for now. Bye bye.